Hello. Hi. Where are you? Bob? Where are you? Congratulations. You're first. Oh, I didn't line this up right. I didn't line this up. We've got a specials board. The new specials board, except I didn't line it up right. There's some letters cut off on the side. Just do that. As the thing says, that's what we're doing. After after Flamingo jumped in and said, "Chili enchiladas," I'm like, "Ooh, ooh, that sounds good." So we're gonna try doing that with the semblance of a no recipe, but I kind of know what I'm doing. But also because we're using up leftovers. That was one of the things. I was in Flamingo's stream thing. Got a brainstorm. Got a brainstorm. Um, it could have said Munchalada. You don't know. I had to brainstorm ideas, and I think they were in a very Mexican food mood. So everything ended up being Mexican food suggestions. But I thought enchiladas was a good idea because we have some of that chili that I made now 2 weeks ago. I've got a couple deli containers like this with it in there. I've also got this, which I made in between. Sorry about last week. The day got away from me, and then I planned to come back and do on Friday because I wasn't scheduled to work on Friday. And then partway through the week, I got the call like, hey, can you work on Friday? So then I did that. This, there's not a ton of it, is, oh God, something's wrong with this camera. This camera I had to completely reset today, and now everything looks weird on my thing. I don't know what it did. Let me know if anything looks weird over here. Forgot to adjust the brightness on the stove top. So let me know if anything looks weird over here. This one has had a time. This stuff is pork shoulder blade steak that I pressure cooked until it just about fell apart, and then I mixed it into a jar of birria, just the juice part that I had in here that I noticed I had had in here for a long time and wanted to use up. And then I made a couple tacos out of that, and I've used it as a quick sort of throw in flavor taco thing. I think I'm going to mix that with the leftover chili, and then that's going to be our filling. It's going to be very meaty. And then I need a decision. I picked up some tomatillos, with the idea of making a quick, small amount of quick salsa verde for the enchiladas, green enchilada sauce. But also, there were tomatoes in the bargain bin, and some of them are a little gnarly, so they should get used up. So we could also attempt a red sauce, a salsa rojo. Roja? Salsa. I know Spanish. I don't know Spanish. So what do you think? A salsa verde, a salsa roja? Some combination of the two. Those are the thoughts in my head. I also want to heat up the chili, at least warm through the chili and this, so they get nice and soft enough that I can stir them into each other. Because this stuff is firm enough that it doesn't come out of the jar. Enchiladas, in my culinary history, are a great way to use up leftover proteins. Um, and if you want to get easy with it, you can get a can of enchilada sauce and some tortillas and some shredded cheese, and it's a real boom boom quick thing. So I'm actually going to start, instead of prepping ingredients today, I'm going to start heating meats. Get these things stirred in to each other. How are you today, everyone? By everyone, I suppose Maria and Bob. I'm not entirely sure how much I'm going to want to use, but I'm going to throw all of it in here anyways, because any leftover will be enriched with the pork. And it is not a bad idea to reheat leftovers up to hot, up to safety temperature, because it resets the timer, it resets the clock on your leftovers, because of course it kills any molds or bacterias, just like it did the first time when you cooked it originally. So if you've got leftovers sitting around for the long term, and they aren't destroyed by repeated heating, which some things are, but stews like a chili is a stew, are not. They benefit from that slow cook. You can essentially reheat them indefinitely, as long as you reheat them before they go off. They just the clock gets reset on them. So, in this case, it also lets us incorporate the additional meat. I'm going to put a lid on that. Okay, so that's going to be our filling. The filling's already made. The filling is essentially just leftovers. That's the leftovers part of our leftover chili enchiladas. It's also the chili part, but we have to make the rest of it. So, enchiladas are essentially rolled tortillas with a filling baked in a sauce. And that might sound real basic, real simple, and it kind of is. They're very freeform. You can get canned red chili or red enchilada sauce, canned green enchilada sauce. You could also use a cheese sauce. You will make your own sauce. You could honestly use non-Mexican flavors and do like a pasta sauce, if you wanted. So these are our options. I would say I've got an approximate amount of both of them. In fact, I could make a red one and a green one and split the jalapeno between them. That wouldn't be the worst idea. So the green sauce is essentially salsa verde. The red, just like the red sauce, is a salsa roja. Um, but again, you could use anything saucy. The idea is just that it provides uh, a liquidous component. At its heart, enchiladas are very spiritually similar to lasagna. These are the slightly gnarly tomatoes. There was a whole bag of tomatoes in the sale bin. These three have some unpleasant looking spots on them. Since I got them today, they are not going to keep since they already have spots. So really, I should definitely use these today. I'm thinking just cut the stem out, cut the little spot out, and have at them. Do a red sauce and a green sauce. Take the onions, split it between them. Take give them each a big garlic. That sounds and then, of course, there's two basic ways to make your sauce. The boiled sauce for this time of sauce. Now, I think these are going to be a fresh sauce. We could do the boiled sauce. We could do the roast sauce. I would be inclined to do the boiled sauce for these guys because I'm going to have to cut them up anyways. We could attempt roasting the tomatillos, but I feel like just doing two boiled sauces might be the easiest. Well, the veggies don't last long. Maybe yours doesn't do it, but at mine, frequently there are no veggies because when they show up, people take them real fast. But mine is, for mine, the veggies are near all the canned box stuff. I also shop the canned box stuff. Our chili is warmed to the point of bubbling. So we're going to stir that pork mix in there to really meat it up. There's the other bay leaf. Pulling the bay leaves out as I see them now, because they have done their job, and also they're hard to pick out when they're inside of something like an enchilada. When they're just in the stew, they are quite easy to eat around. If they end up wrapped up in something, they become problematic to eat around. Keep wanting to put my spatula on that burner, and I need to break that habit. Let's slide those guys to the back burner. Get out a pot, get out a board. Oh. We'll do the tomatillos first. If you've never had tomatillos, this is what they look like. The paper here might fully enclose them. Ideally, don't. Ideally, you look for ones that still have the paper on, but that the paper is split a bit, at least a bit, and slightly loose, so you can look at the tomatillo on the inside. They're sticky underneath the paper, but the paper keeps the thing protected. Well, for enchiladas, some sauce has to go in the pan when we bake them. So, but I think we're doing both. Thank you, Vise. Also, hello. Welcome in. Oh, you guys are over there. I'm over here. Tomatillos. I peeled the tomatillo papers off. Tomatillos are sticky underneath. I'm going to give them a quick rinse to make sure that there's nothing like stuck on them. I have a good collection of stainless steel. At this point, I have a good collection of everything. I've got cast iron stainless steel, aluminum, and some nonstick. Much of which I have gotten from thrifting. I'm doing fine right here. Weather's turned cold. I'm just going to quarter these guys and toss them in that pot there. Drifting or grifting or thrifting? You know the answer. Grifting. All of it's been theft. I admit it. For legal reasons, the preceding statement was a joke. So tomatillos, if you've never had one, they look very similar to tomatoes. They are related to tomatoes. They are very much not tomatoes. For one thing, you can really see they're quite solid on the inside. They have lots of little tiny seeds that are functionally impossible to get rid of. So you just let them exist. Unlike the jalapeno seeds. And instead of being a savory fruit, they are more of a sour They're still acidic, but they lean into the sour acidic flavors, which gives you quite a different character when you make things out of them. Just gonna go ahead and toss our split jalapeno in there. I've gone with a jalapeno pepper instead of a serrano because I don't want this to be massively spicy. Our chili was already a little spicier than I had liked. Oop. I think we've had a little bit of, yeah, we've had a little bit of warping on this board. Shouldn't be surprised. Oh, and we need half the onion. Ugh. Cutting it in half anyways. Do this the easy way. I do enjoy a salsa verde. The different salsas, like any cuisine, they're intended for slightly different things. A salsa verde is like, I think a salsa verde is real good on eggs. If I was going to make a huevos rancheros, I'd reach for a salsa verde. And split, half goes in here. That just needs water. Enough to enough so that everybody's in the pool. It's okay if they stick up a little bit. So in this case, 2 cups. But the amount of water you need is dependent on the quantity of stuff you've got. I thought about making a mole instead of a salsa for enchiladas. I have not. I think with this specific filling that I'm using, the chili, that would end up being savory on savory. It'd be too. I'd be compounding too much of the same. Because remember, we put cocoa into the chili when we made it the first time. Also, the chili is heated through to the point of boiling, so I am just going to take it off the heat. Because we don't need to cook it anymore. We just needed to heat it up to reset the clock on it and also to incorporate the components. And then salsa Roja. I'm going to look up a recipe real quick. Salsa roja. Oh, that's right. Can't forget this. Can't forget the most important, not really, but it's an ingredient. Give it a little bit of herbaceousness. Bookwoman. Coming in hot with the prime. Hi, hi, hi. Congratulations on 36 months. 36 months? Have I been at this long? Allow me to wither away in old age real quick. And a watch streak. Oh, I have watch streaks. Apparently, I have watch streaks now. That has been something that has been slowly trickling out Twitch-wide. Okay. These are going to not boil, but simmer until soft. And you can tell when the skin on the tomatillos starts to turn a bit yellowish. That's the sign, the best sign that stuff is done. We also need to throw some garlic in there. This enormous clove of garlic. MJ? MJ? Well, see, now I gotta say with something else to do with points, because y'all probably have like 50,000 points or some nonsense. Oh, whoa, Bookwoman's got a lot of points. Okay, well, hey, put that in the suggestion box. Something to do with points. Let's see, I need another pot. It's going to be that one. Because we're just going to do the same thing, but with tomatoes this time. Vice is just getting started. It only leaves one burner for the spoons to pile up on. I know. Let's drop off that garlic at the pool so we can smash the other one. That one didn't, yeah, it did. Giant mutant garlics. They're also sprouting, so use them up time. Where are you? Oh my god, where are you? Resubbing, coming in hot. 18 months. That's a lot of months. Thank you guys so much. Oh, hey, you guys kicked off a hype train. If you're into it, there's a hype train. I saw my thing popped up. I don't know if it was just on my end. There's a promotion with bits and something. It went away now, so I don't know what it was. Anyways, we're going to cut up these tomatoes. So thank you so much, guys. Preach. Big preach. Big preach. Once again, as always, I will say the thing that I always say. Boy, I should have done some kind of alert, shouldn't I? We're cutting the stem out of the tomato. And in the case of these guys, we're also cutting around the little spot, which is only skin deep. Oh, also I've got my oven on. Didn't mention that. Preheating the oven. Yeah, I see that it tells you how much to get to level 2, but when I started the stream, there was something, it popped up, it said an extra 250 bits per 10 gift subs or something, which it didn't tell me what it was connected to. It just popped it up at the top of my chat when I started the stream. I was like, what's that? Okay, we've cut the brown spots off and the stems out, and we're just going to, once again, quarter these and chuck them in the pot. Not going to bother skinning them. If you don't like skins, then you can skin them. I'm going to take that little stem remnant out as well. That stem went particularly deep. Stems don't cook down very well. You end up with a little chewy thing. Dry my hands off real quick. Tomatoes are much wetter than tomatillos. The tomatillos look like they're just about done too. Tomatoes are much wetter than tomatillos. So I'm not going to add as much water. I'm just going to give them 1 cup of water, and they will produce a lot of their own liquid into that pot as they cook. And of course, we will throw in a jalapeno as well. These two are effectively the same salsa, but they come out wildly differently because of the addition or the change from tomato to tomatillo. I also don't have any limes right now. Ideally, there would be lime in the tomatillo, although lime would not go amiss in the tomato one either. This is the one that got wet and split, so I'm not surprised that it is also starting to warp slightly. It's definitely the one that has been abused, and with the split, with the little cracks in it, it no doubt has overall weakened. Yeah, it's got a little bit of a rock on that side, but not on the other side, so it must be bending that way slightly. And important ingredient. This is parsley, of course, not cilantro. But if you like cilantro, I would use some cilantro. I don't like cilantro, so we're not using cilantro. Also, use the stems. There's a lot of flavor in stems. Herb stems tend to have quite a bit of flavor in them. It's just that they're not good texturally. It's just like onion skins. There's a lot of flavor in onion skins. The texture is just inedible. So if you are doing something where you can extract the flavors, okay, over yonder. Our tomatillos have turned from that nice vibrant green to this yellowish green. Our jalapenos likewise have turned a more dull color. The tomatillos are also squishy soft, which means it's ready. Off the heat. We'll bring it right over. We'll bring it right over here. It'll steam at the camera a little bit. We will blend it right in that pot. And that's the quick, easy way to make a salsa verde. Boil all the stuff, blend it together with the liquid. If you've got a stick blender, you can do it right in the pot. If you don't, then you can put it in a regular old-fashioned blender. You can do this with the roast. If you basically do exactly the same thing, except you roast them until they soften up like that, and then blend them together. go with a low speed so it spits a little bit less. And there you go. That's essentially salsa verde. The last step for a good salsa verde is to heat a pan with some oil, and then once it's hot, pour this into it. Get that sizzle, and then scrape anything that sticks off the bottom. What I'm going to just do is simmer it back there a little bit. It could probably stand just a little bit of thickening, and it also needs seasoning now that it's all blended up. So, because there's no salt in it. Ooh, it's quite sour. Generous pinch of salt, a little spice to it. That's good. The other thing, ooh, dang, I just added salt. I was looking at a canned salsa verde at the store when I was deciding to make my own. And the thing that was on the canned ingredients was chicken bouillon. Now, I just added salt, so I don't want to add more salt until I know how salty this is. And chicken bouillon has salt in it. But I thought that was an interesting idea to add, because I've got chicken powder, to add just a little dose of that. To it. But now I'm going to let it simmer together a little bit. Ryu's got 100K points. Ryu has also been here almost as long as Bookwoman. I'm adding a little bit of chicken powder. We're doing it. It's happening. This stuff is the powder from ramen noodle packets. It's very salty. That's why I said I wanted to taste it before I added salt. And I did taste it, and I determined it wasn't too salty. So I added some. But I should have added it in lieu of salt. Or I should have added it first and then adjusted with salt afterwards. It's very salty, but it's also got chicken and MSG, most importantly, as well as some other spices. But the main ingredients, if you ever look at one of those things, the main ingredients are salt, MSG, and usually like artificial chicken flavoring. There's rarely ever actual chicken in those things. Let's give it another taste. Yeah. You can definitely has more of a savory flavor to it. It needs a little bit of... I'm going to add a lemon, because I don't have any lime, but I have bottled lemon. It needs a little bit of brightness. You can't hardly see the tomatoes because of the pile of parsley on top of them, but we're hitting the tomato side with the same basic idea, except there I started with a scoop of the chicken powder. Throw some lemon in that one too. If I had a lime, I probably would split one lime between the two of them. Lemon is less sour than lime, so I would use a little bit more of lemon, but ideally it would be lime here. I just forgot to grab a lime. Got everything propped over on the sink instead of on the burners for once. Yeah, let's push down the stuff on the tomato side, because the jalapenos and herbs were definitely not down in the pool water with the tomatoes. Perhaps we should add a little bit more liquid on that side. I can always cook it back out. Some more water would help it immerse the things. Oh. And yeah, we're going to use the stick blender and do the same thing on this side. Blend this guy up. Bob's your uncle. Bob. And then, what else do we need? We need cheese. We need cheese. I was also considering a side dish, because this stuff is going to have to bake for a time. So let me grab a reference recipe. They don't take very long. Yeah, they don't take super long, but long enough that I don't just want to stand here. So I was considering making a side dish while they were going, and I was considering refried beans, so that I could have on the plate. Well, then I would want Spanish rice. Then I would also want Spanish rice. Unless I do refried beans in a little cup. Yes. Because if I was just going to lay them on the plate, I would want that plating where you see the pool of refried beans and the little mound of Spanish rice next to each other. I always think that looks really nice. But if I do some refried beans in a little pot, that can be served with it and still look elegant, I think. I think. We're watching our salsa verde because we just wanted to push a little bit of liquid out of it. We didn't really need to cook it heavily. And it'll thicken up a bit as it cools to room temperature as well. So I'm actually going to, I think I'm going to call it good. Turn that burner off, but also just slide it off the heat. Let it settle a little bit. And then our focus is entirely on this one. No, where are we going to put all the spoons? Uh, the thing that I really should do all the time is that. Uh, if you've ever wondered why so many spatulas are red and why they make like the lids of your plastic containers red, things like that, tomatoes have a habit of leaving permanent red discoloration on plastics and silicones. And that's the reason. If it's already red, then it can't be stained red. The tomatoes are starting to give up their skins. Green chili rice to go with refried beans. Thing is, I feel like I'm going to have a lot of food already. I don't want. We're using up leftovers. I don't. I think I'm inclined to skip the rice because I think we're going to have plenty of food. More food than I. More food than I think I honestly should have. We also have a question. What do you guys think corn tortillas versus flour tortillas? I have both available. Flour tortillas are the big ones. Corn tortillas would make for an interesting plating or an interesting baking in the dish because they would be smaller, so we'd pack them differently. But that's definitely an option. The corn tortillas also might want to split a little bit. What we're looking for is essentially what we were looking for on the other side. We want the tomatoes, especially the middle parts, to be softened enough that our blender can bite through them very easily. Now, the blender will go through a fresh, solid tomato. If you were a gluten eater, all day. Bokoman says flour. Rhea says flour because they roll better. So I guess flour. Okay, but we're putting a pin in corn tortilla enchiladas. We can do that some other time. Because you know, they didn't have flour when they invented the enchilada. I actually don't know if that's true. Let's look up the history of the enchilada. Let's misspell the word history when I search for the history of enchiladas. Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely predate flour because they were created by the Aztecs. There you go. Probably under a different name. Probably under an Aztec name. We need to grate some cheese. I said that twice, and then I didn't do it. The guy over there is going to continue bruddling for a bit. We are going to sale price. We're going to grate some sale price cheese. They were actively putting this into the bin as I was there. The bargain bin, not the trash bin, I suppose. Just realized that that's what that sounded like. But so it's old, but it's fresh old. It also decided for me what kind of cheese I was going to use. I was considering some other options, and discount brick of Colby Jack. It fell in my lap, so there you go. Freshly thrown in the bin, hardly there for a moment before I fished it out and took it home with me. We want quite a lot of cheese for this, so because we're cheesing the inside and the outside. Ooh, I definitely got some chili pepper on my finger, and then at some point touched my face. Because my nose is spicy right now. I'm going to cut half of this cheese, and then I will diligently hold the other half. We can grate more if we need it for the topping. And then I like to go up with my hand on the blades to knock some of those things loose. Should be a good amount of cheese. The oven is ready whenever I actually put anything in it. I just heard the click. Let's go back over to our salsa. Tomatoes are looking pretty good. They're falling apart. That one I just might have to eat with the blender. I'm gonna blend it. I'm gonna blend it, meow. Right, meow. Gonna let it stop actively boiling before I put the blender in it. Do. Okay, and that should be all the blending we need today. So I'll pop the blade in the sink. And put the motor part away. If you're good, which I am not, you can keep the motor part completely clean. And I think all I got on mine today was steam because I kept blending boiling hot things. Yes, the Aztecs were famous for having invented immersion blenders. Unfortunately, they didn't invent electricity, so Now, traditionally, you would do this with, you'd probably, I can think of a couple ways I would do this more traditionally. Easiest one would be just cut it up with a knife. I think the way it was probably done was that it was mashed in a molcajete or something similar. Because that is how they did the sauce. So molcajete is, I don't know, I know that's the Mexican one. I don't know if the Aztecs had their own, but they probably had something similar. It's a big mortar and pestle made out of a rough volcanic stone. So it's got a really coarse texture to it. And it is the traditional way to make these all these sauces. You just smash the ingredients together. And that's how a lot of our blended sauces originated. They were still blended sauces. It was just a lot more elbow grease to blend them up. This guy, he's back on the heat. He's a little thin for my liking, so I'm actually gonna turn him up and give him a really good blast. Very different character. He also needs a little more salt. Don't forget to salt your tomatoes. It really, really, really does a lot for them. Not going to add any more chicken powder. I think there's plenty of savory in that. Ooh. Okay. While that's bubbling away, this is my pan. There are many like it, but this one is mine. Oop. And, these are the tortillas, and the idea is they'll be rolled approximately like so, and lined up. Well, the sauce on the bottom, roll these guys up approximately like so, with the filling in, obviously. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could probably squeeze 8 in there, which would be most of this package. And then sauce on top, cheese on top of that, bake them. Woo! Boiling a little bit too hard back there. This is a pan that we have not used a ton. The other option I had for pan was this one, which has gotten some more use, but it's also bigger. If I had the 10-inch tortillas, they would be appropriate for this pan, but these guys are going to be short. And I'd like my tortillas to take up the space. I often see enchiladas cooked in a glass pan. I don't like glass bakeware. I understand it has some interesting thermal properties that I am not particularly interested in exploring because I don't like the concept. Our sauce, our salsa, boiled quite high. So it needed to be turned down and also scraped down. But boiling is what I want with this one because I want it to thicken up a little bit before we call it a day. And then I wanted to mix cheese into the chili to make chili cheese, and then also put cheese on top. So what I'm doing is I'm eyeballing the quantity I'm going to need, because I don't want to cheese the entire bowl of chili, just the amount that ends up in here, because then the remainder can go back in the deli container. Which means it's steel bowl time. Oh, and it's come over here time. It's touchpad doesn't work time. So this is just here so I can eyeball the size that I need. This is the main event. And this is our combined chili. The cheese will also help this bind together a little bit. Because this is a little bit soupy for a filling. If you weren't here last time, which was actually 2 weeks ago, again, sorry about last week, totally got away from me, and then my makeup day that I had plotted out also fell through because I ended up working that day. I got a surprise call for hey, can you cover a shift? And I was like, sure. But that was the day I was going to do a makeup stream. Which I didn't tell you about in advance. It was going to be a surprise, but then it wasn't a surprise because it didn't happen. Make sure my salsa doesn't stick to the bottom. Those tomatoes were not massively red, I'm going to say. For a salsa roja, this is not the reddest salsa I've ever seen. I was going to do it on Friday. Usually when I skip a stream, I attempt to do a makeup later in the week. Last week, I thought I was going to be available on Friday. Put all this in here. But like I said, it fell through. I always say I should do more streams. I always say to myself, and sometimes to you guys, but always to myself, I should do more streams during the week. Whenever I've got time off, I should just do a stream. Why not? And then I don't do it. This is chili cheese, or cheese chili. We're making chili cheese Fritos. That's what we're making today. Chili cheese Fritos. Oh, nonsense. Because I hate you. Yes. Well, not all of you. But enough of you. Deep, passionate hate. You know how it is. I think that's enough. I think that's enough. Do you think that's enough? To fill 8 of these things? Hi, Mish. You know it. Oh, God. My nose burns. It burns with the fire of 1 jalapeno pepper, which is, not a ton, but it's enough. I didn't know you were here. I don't keep the list open, despite what Ninja told me. Ninja told people, keep your viewer list open at all times so you can call people out when they arrive, even if they don't say anything. And I've never heard anyone ever say that was a good idea. Including Ninja, who does not do that. He's just a troll. I think that's thickened up enough. I'm going to take the heat off of our sauce. Oh, you guys are looking at nothing. You guys are looking at nothing. I'm going to take the heat off of our sauce. Let it stop bubbling on me. And we can taste it as well. Well, it's not even like getting called out for arriving late. It's like sitting quietly in the corner and getting called out for sitting quietly in the corner. Tomatoey. Can we make 1 corn tortilla? That would be a challenge because the corn tortillas are a completely different size. The corn tortillas are this size. Which if I was going to do in this, I would line them up this way, do 2 rows like that. Because otherwise they don't fit. The size does matter because it affects how you tessellate your thing. Also, turns out these are cold because I had them in the fridge. Who'd have thunk? Who to thunk? So I could warm them up. I could heat them up and roll them, but I don't really want to heat up the whole package just to do one. Oh, yeah, excuse me. Oh, God. It's spicy nose. Spicy nose is making me sneeze. Oh. Oh. Okay. Here's what's going to happen. Ooh. Here's what's going to happen. We're going to take our red sauce. We're going to take 2 scoops of it. Put it on the bottom. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. We're going to take another scoop of it, actually. Fill in the side bits. I think the red sauce is going to be a good bottomer for this. Did I say hi when you got here, Queerly Studley? I don't remember. I remember talking to you about Aztec stick blenders. Well, hi. Fill him up about yay much. Roll them up, plunk them in the thing. Oop, I guess that was slightly overfilled because some of it squeezed out. Good to know. Also, that's a good way to measure it. Oh, there's definitely some spice going on today. Ooh-wee. Don't forget, there's peppers in our chili. The chili was a little bit too spicy to begin with, and we're still dealing with that same chili. Let's just try one big scoop. Yeah, that's just about perfect. One big scoop. Sitting quietly in the corner. And then I called on you and said, Queerly, have you been paying attention? And you said, Yes'm. And I said, okay. And that was the end of our conversation. No. I don't know where I was going with that. And we'll never know where I was going with that because I'm not going to keep going with that. That seemed like a weird course. I think it's probably a good idea to do this on a plate instead of the way I'm doing it, which is freehand on the worktop. But what are you going to do? There's literally no way for me to use a plate now. Also getting better at this as I go. Developing confidence. Boy, and I eyeballed. Wow, I'm surprised. I eyeballed the amount for these guys so closely. I was sure there'd be just a little bit wrong. We're doing 7. 7 is what fits in this pan, which is slightly awkward. Like so. With just a smidge left that I'll, I guess, eat with a spoon. Do that right now. Mmm. That's good with the cheese in it. Gives it a little bit of creaminess. Cuts that spice. Okay. 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 Bookwoman is also sitting quietly in the corner. Good. No. And then I'm going to take our salsa roja. There. And our salsa verde on this side. And since we have 7, I'm going to give the more generous side to the salsa verde. I'm going to touch up the little edges again. Make sure I don't have... I personally am not a fan of the crispy edges when they stick out. So I'm going to sauce my little edges. Probably should do this in 2 pans. Never the twain shall meet. But yeah, you always sauce the top, and if you don't like those crispy edges, then extra sauce. You want them veritably swimming, not completely drowning, but like swimming. Ugh. We're going to grate this over here on the grater. Because it'll be easier to spread it on top with my fingies than trying to grate it directly with a box grater. If you wanted a more traditional cheese here, I think that a queso Oaxaca, a queso quesadilla would be good choices. I would not choose any of the crumbly cheeses. Your fresco or your cotija, because they don't melt at all. They're terrible melters. Colby Jack is a fun melter. We're using most of this brick of discount cheese. Snow in North Carolina in November. Interesting. We had snow here yesterday, but that's not massively unusual for, Wisconsin. It's actually been unusually warm more often than cold recently for unknown reasons. Probably something to do with magnets, since nobody knows what they are or how they work. Okay, that goes in the oven. for 20 minutes. The pizza stone that is in the oven gets moved down a rack because I don't want to scorch the bottom of this thing. Flemish, Flemish, what are you doing? Flemish, what the heck? I've got a little chunk. 16 months. Flemish, what are you doing? Thank you so much. Welcome back. Yeah, I think the enchiladas are going to be great. They're chili cheese enchiladas with a salsa verde on one side and a salsa roja on the other side, and cheese. We've got that much cheese left from that block of cheese, which is fine. It was discount cheese. You need quite a lot of cheese, so when I saw discount cheese, I was like, yes, discount cheese is the correct choice. Flamingo missed some steps, but here they are. Well, Flamingo, you missed all the steps. The enchiladas are in the oven. We're making a side dish. If we slide over here, you can see the mess, the disaster. But we are, in fact, using Flamingo's idea of chili enchiladas. I've gone with chili cheese enchiladas. We made salsa verde, salsa roja. We also gussied up our chili a little bit. This is the remaining leftover chili. That goes in one of these jelly containers. The two salsas need to get jarred. Which my jars are over here. So I guess that's what we're going to do now. But we should start the refried beans. We're going to go with cheater refried beans because I am going to cheat. Folkwoman is lurking. Have a nice dinner, I assume. Into a pan goes lard. A goodly amount of it. You want to do Mexican cooking? Learn to love lard. Well, learn to use correctly lard. It is good. And what we're going to cheat is this is going to get turned into refried beans. So start melting the lard. Open the can. This is black beans that are already seasoned with some extra liquid. They are one of the quickest, cheaty ways that I know to just make something tasty. Let's see, we're also going to want a scallion. Ooh, the scallion's getting a little... Ooh. Scallion's not looking so hot. I need my scissors. I'm going to go look at my front herb window and see if I can't retrieve a scallion for garnish. The ones in my fridge are a little bit floppy. Yeah, the window ones look good. That one. We only need a bit. The way refried beans are made normally is essentially what I'm doing, except you add seasonings. This is pre-seasoned. The way refried beans are made is you make beans from scratch, drain the liquid, and then you cook the beans again in lard or a different oil, but an oil with some seasonings and stuff, and then you mash them up. The cheat here is that I'm using a pre-seasoned canned bean. Both of our salsas also come in cans. So if I had wanted to, I could have used canned salsa verde, canned salsa roja, and cheated that as well. Okay. We're going to throw in a clove of garlic. Guess we're going to throw in 2 cloves of garlic. Do I need additional onion? I don't think I need additional onion. Actually, no, I do, because I want some onion for a topping. So we're going to cut onion anyways. Ooh, I can smell hot pork fat, which does not smell great. If you've never cooked with lard, for one thing, it doesn't smoke. It just gets hotter. Eventually it smokes, but like on normal cooking levels, it doesn't ever seem like it's going to do anything. And then when you add food to it, all of a sudden it's screaming hot and spitting all over the place. It has such a high smoke point that it barely gives you almost no signal that it's ready to go. That stuff is ready to go because I can smell hot pork fat, even though it looks exactly the same. You guys get over here. This is garlic. And this is a white onion, and we don't need the whole thing. but I want to add a little bit of it to this. It's gonna probably start to burn the moment I put it in that pot because that oil is gonna be screaming by the time I get there. So we're gonna do this quick because I've already overshot. Yep. Okay. That was the theme. That was the theme. It was use every pan in the house day. No, my God. I have never counted my pans, but I have too many pans. Okay, that's already browning to the point where I don't want to push it any further. Garlic in. Cumin in. Garlic fragrant. That was fast. Don't want to burn it. Don't want to burn it. This stuff in. And this contains water, beans, bell pepper, onion, olive oil, vinegar, black pepper, oregano, garlic, sugar. And we're going to cook this all together. And then we're going to mash it. And then we're going to call it refried beans, because that's how you make refried beans. There was a question. Does the chili also have beans? It does. There are beans in my chili. There are black beans and white beans in my chili. And red beans. There's a whole bunch of beans in my chili. It's a very beany chili. Okay, so that's gonna have to start simmering away. We're gonna tidy stuff up because the enchiladas are baking and the beans, which are going to be our side dish, are doing their thing there. Wow. Just, wow, perfect. Perfect fill. No notes. Hi, George. Let me shout out George. I should shout out Flamingo, too. George also cooks here on the old Twitch. Check him out. It's been a minute since I've been over there with you, George. Oh, both of these came in just perfect. I guess I used just the right amount in the enchiladas. Crawdalt. Hi. Hello. Welcome. We are packing out a few things while we wait for our beans to simmer and for our enchiladas to, I guess, also simmer, but technically they're braising. I've reduced the leftover chili to 1/2 of one deli container, which is good. Because it started out as 2.5 plus the glass thing. You know, for as many pans as I've used, this is not a big mess day. Because it's mostly the pots. So you're seeing a lot more mess than usual because almost everything that I've used has been cookware. But usually what happens is I have a million little bowls and spoons and knives and all the other things that all get shoved in the sink. So you guys never see that part. This mess is way better than my usual mess. And we've still got leftover chili. And now I've also got salsa verde and salsa roja. Food streamer struggle. I mean, you got to have a million tiny bowls to put things in so that I can have little bowls lined up. How's it going, Crawdalt? I said I was going to shout out Flamingo. Over yonder, we are pushing some of the liquid out of this because it was soupy, because it was intended to be a soup. Once we mash the beans, this will start to thicken quite quickly. So I don't want to mash it in advance because then it'll start to do that mud volcano blorp blorp thing. That's you, Flamingo. I'm calling you out. Calling you out a lurk. That thing that I was told to do by Ninja. You know, call out lurkers. Let's see. We are going to garnish with a little bit of onion. Flamingo does not cook on Twitch. Flamingo plays video games. Very, very different skill set. I should play games. That'd be a thing to do on like off days, especially when I'm just kind of sitting around. When I'm sitting here and I got nothing else to do, which is not massively frequent, but not massively rare. But playing a game with you guys. Or playing a game at you guys. Onion. Do I add more tomato? No. Yeah. Yeah. We just want part of this guy though, so this one does not have a big weird black spot on it, so I was not worried about using it up. But now that I've cut into it, I'll have to think about using it up as well. Onion, tomato, parsley, that much scallion, another differenter cheese. Let's wipe some juice off of my board before it soaks in. We're going to want some parsley. We're going to want that scallion. We're going to want that cheese. We're going to look at the beans. We're going to judge them. They look good. We're going to find my potato masher. And we're going to start mashing beans. So by smashing the beans, we release the starches and the proteins that are in the beans into the liquid, into the cooking liquid. And they love to thicken things up. And this quickly starts to become thick like the refried bean. You could do this with a blender. If you did it with a blender, you would have a much smoother result. If you wanted any little textury lumps to it, a masher is good. A masher, this style of masher, will definitely miss a few whole beans just because of the shape of it. If you got one of those ones that's like the grid, that would do a really good job of just mashing your beans. But that's how you make refried beans. Then you adjust this to taste. Yes, you could just motor it with the thing. It would give you a smoother texture. I like a little bit of a lump to my refried beans, and also I already put the motor away. But you can see how quickly this has turned into thick refried bean texture. I'm going to give it a quick taste. I mean, there's nothing magical about it, but yeah, it's nice to have a little bits of textures left in there, not just completely pulverize it. There's lots of ways you could modify this. You could throw in You can throw in some cheese. We're not going to throw cheese into this one. Yes, it'll thicken even more when it's cool. That is a for sure thing. Um, it's already forming a little bit of a skin. I'm giving it a little dash of, this time, beef powder, same source, ramen packet powder. But I think it'll give it a little bit of a different character. Ooh, yeah. She's a thick one. Yep. Once you mash the beans, they start to thicken very quickly. If it becomes too thick, you can just add water to this to take it back the other direction. Or you could add flavored liquids if you wanted. But that's it. That's the quick, dirty refried beans. Um, refried beans are something that I don't purchase canned anymore because I could buy canned regular beans. I still buy canned beans because making dry beans from scratch is a bit of an ordeal. They're great, but it's a bit of an ordeal. But if you just want quick refried beans, they're quick refried beans. Obviously not quite as quick as just dumping them out of a can, but still. Did anybody pay attention to when I put the enchiladas in the oven? Because I did not. And now I don't recall. "15 minutes-ish. Thank you, Bob. Yeah, like I said, these black beans were seasoned, and then they added more seasoning as well. But normally when I buy, the reason I have these is because they were, it was a whole pallet of them for $5, and they're canned, so they're not going to go off. My fridge is making a weird noise. It's not very loud, so you probably can't hear it, but it's making a little bit of a weird noise. What was I going to look at? Parsley. I need some parsley. I need yet more parsley. About that much. About that much probably do me. Okay. Let's. If I tried dry black beans from dry, I have done black beans from dry. I do the overnight soak. They did not need more than one soak when I did them as an overnight soak. But then you have to plan for beans the day ahead, which is also a big ask. I don't often plan for beans the day ahead. Canned beans are so convenient in that way. I need to move some of my pots and pans. Because I want to check on my enchiladas. Ooh, the cheese is all melty. It's actually getting little brown spots around the edges. I'm just going to eyeball it. It looks like it's very close to me. And then we have a tray of garnishes. Let's... Yeah, lentils. They're very quick. I don't make a lot of beans from dry. The only dry bean, well, okay, I've got two kinds of dry beans on hand right now because one of them I got in a discount. But normally the ones I have on hand are just pinto beans. They are my all-rounder bean. They're my all-rounder bean. The weird one I got were Roman beans. Don't know what's about them. They were 99 cents. We should give those a try sometime. I bet you those enchiladas are done. All the ingredients in them were already cooked. I could have eaten them immediately. So we're just kind of heating them through and getting the cheese melted and a little bit bubbly on top. Yes, a can of beans. Yes, yes. Dry beans are extremely economical, but you're paying for the time. That's what you're paying for. You're paying for someone else to have gone through the time to turn dry beans into prepared beans. But yeah, so when I have dry beans, I have dry beans. I have quite a lot of them, in fact. This is my current jar of pinto beans. This was like $5 worth of pinto beans. And it is liable to last an age. They also are dry, so they store very, very easily. What are we plating this with? I know what we're plating the beans in that little pot there. Do we do a black circle, white circle deal? The black plate ended up at the bottom. Oh, that's a blue plate. Black circle, white circle, black beans, enchiladas. Sure, let's go with that. What is that sound? I mean, it's the fan inside the freezer. Okay. Refried black beans. Crumble of cotija cheese. And a little dash of scallion on the top. over here. I'm going to call this guy ready to come out. Turn the oven off. He looks like that. That is an entire pan of enchiladas. I declare it dinner for 4, at least. The cheese really cheesed in on it. I think we are going to need this guy. Got a bunch of slightly differently shaped spatulas. I think we're going to need that one. We hardly ever use that one, but I think I'm going to need it to get in underneath these guys. Yeah, so we're serving. That's it. Wow. Just about 2 hours perfect. It's 2 a.m. I have also been staying up very late recently. Ever since the clock change, I've been swinging between going to bed very early and sleeping too much, and then the following day going to bed way too late and then not sleeping enough. And I need to stabilize in the middle. It's been tough. It's been a little bit of a slog. But Mish, please. I know you want to see the stuff, but always take care of yourself first. The VOD will be there. I am not going to use tongs. The tongs seem like a bad idea. I'm going to use double spatulas. If we could get this, you may have overcooked it a bit. I may have definitely overcooked it a bit. I was going to take one from this end and one from that end, but I think that might not be possible. These will be easier to get out of here after they have cooled and firmed up. Some of that is filling that has gooshed out of them as well. Well, they're a little bit less pretty. They're a little bit less pretty than they were a second ago, but we can help that. With garnish. They're exploding a little bit, just a smidge. Just a smidge exploded. And there you go. That's order up. let's go take our glamour shot. Oop, my phone. Probably, nope, not in my coat. Oh, all the way over here. Weird place for it. Weird place for it. Okay. Let's come back and see how this tastes. I bet you it's good. I bet you it's good. This is one generous serving. I will have leftovers for days on this. More leftovers. This is why I ended up not wanting to do rice with it, because leftovers for days. Ideally, you would pull it out and let it rest like a lasagna for enough time for things to set up. And then you could cut them out of there like a lasagna without them falling apart. It's literally the same problem, which is it's in that spiritual space of a lasagna, which you should let set up so that the layers stay together. In this case, let this set up so that the stuff stays together. But let's give it a taste. This way. Stuff's falling out. Mmm. Oh, it comes in waves. It comes in waves. Up front, chili cheese, like classic chili cheese. Chili spices with cheese is a classic combo in American cuisine, I guess. That was the first thing. Then, oh God, I've lost track. There was a bunch of waves to this. I almost need a spoon. The salsa roja hits. I think the salsa verde is getting a little bit lost, but the salsa flavors come through next. That savoriness, that tomatoiness, the sourness as well. That's going to be the roja coming through. No, sorry, the verde coming through. That first bite also had a black bean, a whole black bean in it, which gave me a bite of beaniness. And then at the very end, the fresh, weirdly at the end, the fresh bits that get caught in there, the parsley, the fresh tomato, those come in they come in late. What kind of cheese did we use? I ended up using Colby Jack because Colby Jack was on sale for $2 for a brick of it. And we used almost the entire brick of it. Because there's cheese in the filling as well. So this started out as a full, like, brick. And black bean. Mmm. Mmm. If you have never made your own refried beans, you're missing out. They are head and shoulders above the canned kind. And you saw how easy that was. That was easy. They're quite easy. The lard makes a big difference. But lard is also very, very cheap among cooking fats. So learning to cook with it, probably an overall wise decision. Yeah, $2 a brick. I got the one we just used. Oop, oop, oop. Dropping stuff. I got the one we just used and another one of the same. Okay, I'm gonna rate us out. I'm gonna wrap us up and rate us out real quick because all of a sudden I have to go to the bathroom. So, and no sense in me taking a break and coming back and rating us out. So let's see who's on real quick, and I will rate us out. Mikey, Venture, Jay, Tay. We go see Mom again. I'm going to go to Sheffrey, Room and Board. Rui is hooking us up with the message. Thank you all for hanging out. I'm going to rate us out, go to the bathroom, and then come back and say hi in chat. Because, as they say, oh Lord, she's a-coming. So, thank you for hanging out. Thanks for the sub. Thanks for multiple subs. There was a hype train. I don't have the thing pulled up. I can't call it out, but I believe it was Radio Flemish and Bookwoman. Go ahead and copy the raid messages. The one with my little face if you are subbed, and the other one with the dinosaurs if you are not. And yeah, I'm not going to wait for the countdown. See you next week. Probably. Bye.